Hi, my name's John. Welcome to the first part in what's going to be a series of videos reviewing the Artec 260 AXT AC/DC digital TIG welder. Before we get started, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. The first and most important thing is I'm not a welder. I'm a motor mechanic. Saying that, I was involved in motorsport for quite a few years, and I have done a lot of TIG welding, both aluminium and steel. I have a YouTube channel. The channel is called Doubleboost. I do machining, I do a bit of welding, I do some car repairs, I go to steam engine rallies. That's the sort of thing I'm interested in. Basically anything mechanical, the older the better really. I'll tell you how I come to start doing reviews for Artec. It was about 3 years ago. I bought an analog AC/DC TIG welder from them. After I did a lot of research and I found out that they were a decent company selling decent gear at a good price. So I bought the welder and I did a little review on it just to fill in one of my videos, and Artec saw this and they asked me if I would like to do a proper review on it, which I did. Since then I've done a couple of MIG welders and a plasma cutter, and now we're doing this, the latest welder, the 260 AC/DC TIG. What I'll probably do, it'll be the same sort of format as all the videos I've done. I'll do a little bit, we'll open the box, see exactly what's in there, have a look at the accessories, then we'll get the welder out and I'll show you where the various wires go and the various pipes go. I'll do a little bit on safety. I know I'm not the safety police, but it won't do any harm to do a little bit on safety. We'll show you how to connect the gas bottle to it, discuss power supplies, the power requirements for the welder, possibly even get it powered up. This is the accessory pack that comes with the welder. It's the instruction book that comes with the welder as well. Quite a decent book. It's only written one language, English. We'll go through that later. Right, let's get the box open and see what's in here. Right. First thing we find is actually a stick welding holder, what they call a stinger. You can stick weld with inverter welders. This welder's actually got 3 different settings for stick welding. So we've got a nice copper welding cable. Earth cable as well. Nice copper cable. What they call a DIN connector on the end, standard type connector. Use the same earth for TIG welding and stick welding. That's a pipe that connects your organ regulator to the welder itself. This is the regulator. Standard 2-gauge regulator. We'll discuss this later on. We'll come to fastening up the bottle, how you set it up. A small pack of the torch consumables there, enough to get you going. This is the business end of the welder, the actual torch itself. This is a 26 type torch, air cooled. It's got a flex head on it. It's got a flexi joint on the back. It's also got a leather shield on the cable for the first couple of feet. It's very flexible, the cable, which is quite important. You don't want a stiff cable, so you're not wrestling with it. That does feel nice. There's a switch on there. That switches your welding machine on and off between 2T and 4T welding. We'll be going through that later. On the tail end of the torch, Got a DIN type connector for your power feed. There's a plug there, that plug is connected to the switch. That's your gas feed. It's got a small PCL type connector, that's just plugged straight to the front of the welder. This 26 type torch is good for 200 amps. If you only use a welder on its maximum setting of 260 amps, you'll need a water cooled torch. Artec do water cooled torches and water coolers that are matched to this welder. It is possible that later on in a series of videos that I'll get a water cooler and I'll show you how to set that up, and we'll play with a water cooled torch. This torch is also available in a WP9 style. The WP9 torch is quite a bit smaller, uses smaller consumables, but it's only good for 125 amps on AC and 150 amps on DC. The WP9 is a torch I use most of the time. Saying that, I'm quite impressed with this. I'm looking forward to getting it fired up. We've got the well out of the box. It comes very well wrapped up, it's protected for the stadium. First thing you do, have a look around it, make sure there's no damage on it, hasn't been damaged in transit, which it hasn't, it looks good. Like I say, I've had 3 or 4 machines now and none of them have ever been marked. This is the new digital front panel. Instead of having knobs to control the various parameters, it's all done digitally. There's only one knob there. Its menus. It looks complicated, but it's not. It's quite easy to use. If I can use it, anybody can, because I'm still going feet to inches. It will start off at the back of the welder. The main and off switch. There's a socket there, it says 240 volt. That's a 240 volt output for a water cooler. There's a threaded connector on the bottom, that's your gas inlet. There's a bolt there with an earthing point on. If you're using the welder on a steel bench, you can earth the welder to the bench. It won't do any harm, it stops interference with radios and televisions on the AC. This is your input cable. As you can see, it's a nice big heavy bit of gear. This welder, to use its full performance of 260 amps on AC and DC, needs a 32 amp supply. That being said, get the 32 amp supply in your shop. It's not a miracle, it's quite simple. You just get an electrician to come, put a separate feed in, purely and simply to run your welder. Obviously this is the front of the welder, the perspex panel there to keep any dust out of there. This is your digital display, your various menus. There's only one knob on it, one button there. We'll go through that later on. It looks complicated, it's not. If I can use it, anybody can. These are the connectors on the front of the welder, a negative and a positive DIN socket. The negative goes to the torch and the positive goes to the ground on TIG welding, other way around for stick welding. There's a connector there. That's where the torch plugs into to control your 2 and your 4T welding operations, or your foot pedal plugs into there to control your ampage. That's a gas outlet, nice little PCL type fitting, gas line plugs into there. As you well know, TIG welding stands for tungsten inert gas. I have a tungsten in the end of a welding torch and an inert gas to shield the arc. The inert gas we use is pure argon, high purity argon. The high purity argon comes in a bottle stored at a fill pressure of 3000 psi. The working pressure on the torch is somewhere between 5 and 10 psi. So to get the pressure down from 3000 to the required 5 to 10, use a regulator. I'll give you some advice. Before you even attempt to put the regulator onto the bottle, make sure the bottle is secure. Normally it's fastened onto a welding trolley or in a rack. Simply tie it to something. To stop it from falling over. Because if you put your new regulator on, your new flow meter, and you'll knock the bottle over and the bottle will fall over and you'll break your regulator. I've done it. Right, so the bottles here on a welding trolley are securely tied to something. Gently open the valve on the bottle, just a fraction. That just removes any dust and muck from the end of the threads. Regulator simply screws in. The regulator is right hand thread. The inert gases are right hand thread. Flammable gases such as propane, acetylene are left hand thread. That simply goes into there. You nip it in with a proper fitting spanner or a good quality adjustable. It's going to be tight but not ridiculously tight. You could, that's the outlet from the regulator, you could go from there straight into the back of the welder. Just use a regulator to set your pressure. What I do, I use a flow meter. The flow meter goes between the regulator and the welder, and what it does, it measures the flow of gas. Argon gas is expensive, you don't want to waste it. You put the flow meter in, and you can accurately set your flow in litres per minute, or cubic feet per hour, depending on which way you want to do it. Once again, these are ordinary thread. This is the gas pipe that's supplied with a welder. Simply screws onto there. This is all standard stuff, all 3/8 BSP. Screws onto there. That in screws onto the welder. There's 2 gauges on the regulator. One gauge shows cylinder content pressure, and that gauge shows the outlet pressure from the regulator into the welder. I've also got a flow meter fastened on, which actually measures actual gas flow. We'll gently open the bottle. You see the cylinder pressure has gone up just over 2000 psi as the bottle has been used. The regulator is fully wound back and the flow meter is closed. If I open the flow meter and gently screw the regulator down, the flow meter is moving there, so you can adjust the flow with that needle valve there. It means you can accurately determine how much gas is going through the welding set. The gas pipe that comes from the regulator simply screws onto the back of the welder. Once you get to this stage, it's a good idea to turn on your regulator, a bit of pressure on it, and get some either gas leak detect spray or some soapy water and just spray on all the fittings just to make sure you've got no leaks. Leaks don't just waste gas. If you get a leak on your organ, it can actually draw air in and you get porous welds. Leaks on organ supplies can cause major problems with TIG welding. I will go through the setting up with the flows and the pressures once we start doing some welding. So basically that's how you connect the gas bottle to the welder. To connect your torch onto the front of the welding set for TIG welding, so your TIG welding torch is negative. That simply goes, plugs into there, quarter turn and it locks in. That's your gas feed, that simply pushes into there. The earth feed goes into that one. good length of wire on these leads. Some sets just have little short leads. Right, so your earth goes into the plus one. That would clamp onto your job or onto your steel bench if you're welding on a steel bench. The next connection is this plug here. That's for your 2T and 4T switching on your torch, or if you're using a foot pedal, I use a foot pedal all the time. That screws into there and that controls your amperage on the fly, so to speak. You can control your amperage as you're welding. I want to do a little bit on safety. Obviously with welding you've got heat. Heat can burn you. You've also got ultraviolet radiation coming from the welding arc. This won't only damage your eyes, it will burn your skin. In the old days we used to use a handheld screen for stick welding with one of them in, bit of plate glass. Things have moved on since then. We've got what they call quick changing helmets. There's a one there, that's a speed glass one. I've had that a lot of years. Very good, but it was very expensive. This is the one I use now, it's an Artec one. It's adjustable for different shades, different sensitivities. It's also got a button here, what they call a grind button. You can press the button and that stops the lens from changing colour. It stops the light green so you can grind, you can see what you're doing when you're grinding. Because a great temptation is, especially with MIG or stick welding, you do a bit of welding and you lift your visor up so you can see and you grind like that. That's when you get the shite in the eyes. With this you just put your finger up and say press the button, you can grind your heart's content. So eye protection is a must. You wear gloves to protect your hands. Any skin must be covered up. Cotton jumper like this is basically all you need for light amperage TIG welding. You might watch some American car programs or motorbike programs where they're sitting welding in shirt sleeves with rings on, and don't do it, it's not worth it, but you will get your hands burnt. The next connection is this plug here. That's for your 2T and 4T switching on your torch, or if you're using a foot pedal, I use a foot pedal all the time. That screws into there and that controls your amperage on the fly, so to speak. You can control your amperage as you're welding. I want to do a little bit on safety. Obviously with welding you've got heat. Heat can burn you. You've also got ultraviolet radiation coming from the welding arc. This won't only damage your eyes, it will burn your skin. In the old days we used to use a handheld screen for stick welding with one of them in, bit of plate glass. Things have moved on since then. We've got what they call quick changing helmets. There's a one there, that's a speed glass one. I've had that a lot of years. Very good, but it was very expensive. This is the one I use now, it's an Artec one. It's adjustable for different shades, different sensitivities. It's also got a button here, what they call a grind button. You can press the button and that stops the lens from changing colour. It stops the light green so you can grind, you can see what you're doing when you're grinding. Because a great temptation is, especially with MIG or stick welding, you do a bit of welding and you lift your visor up so you can see and you grind like that. That's when you get the shite in the eyes. With this you just put your finger up and say press the button, you can grind your heart's content. So eye protection is a must. You wear gloves to protect your hands. Any skin must be covered up. Cotton jumper like this is basically all you need for light amperage TIG welding. You might watch some American car programs or motorbike programs where they're sitting welding in shirt sleeves with rings on, and don't do it, it's not worth it, but you will get your hands burnt. I remember years ago I was tacking up outside. It was a lovely sunny day and I had proper gear on, gauntlets, leather jacket, proper welding hood, but I had a little V gap down there and that got burnt, badly burnt, the skin started to peel up. I ended up in hospital. So make sure you cover up any exposed skin. Obviously you've got high electrical currents, don't take it outside into the piss and rain. It's not rocket science. You've got a bottle of high pressure gas, make sure it's tied to something. You bell end you. Right, the gas pipe that comes from the right, the gas pipe, bell end.